how much of a threat is this new partnership to Uber?
Yeah, well, it's the enemy of my enemy is my friend. But this is also potentially very useful to Waymo to have a way to deploy their self-driving cars through Lyft. I think it makes Waymo and Lyft, if they're actually able to do something with this, a much more credible threat to Uber. So I guess in that sense, it is a threat. There's so much we don't know about sort of the autonomous landscape and how these companies will actually compete, but it's definitely a strong partnership for Waymo and Lyft.
Now, at the same time, a judge is weighing whether to freeze Uber's self-driving efforts altogether as this case proceeds. What is the latest on that?
So we just got word on the preliminary injunction was really the most imminent barrier to Uber's self-driving car program. The judge basically said Anthony Lewandowski, the head of your program, or the former head, can't be involved in LiDAR, these lasers that the cars use to see everything around. Uber had basically already done that. So the preliminary injunction isn't stopping Uber from doing a lot of the work it was already doing. Uber can keep going forward. So that's not a big of a threat. I think the threat is more just the judge seemed to say things that looked pretty good for Waymo and therefore bad for Uber's defense.
Now, some industry observers have mentioned that Uber doesn't actually need the technology that was supposedly stolen from Alphabet, from Waymo in order to build their self-driving cars. Is that true?
I mean, all along, Uber's been using Velodyne LiDAR to sort of see what's going on, and then has been researching their own method. Now, the problem is Velodyne just doesn't have enough LiDAR for Uber or any of these other companies. It's expensive. At the end of the day, if the goal of self-driving cars is to be cheaper than human drivers, you know, the companies sort of want to be able to develop the technology to make it less expensive down the road.
So, net-net, are Uber's self-driving efforts in peril?
I think it still hangs on this case, but the timeline to find out is much further off. Like, the initial fear was about this preliminary injunction. We seem to have gotten past that. And now it's how this court battle, which will take a lot of time, sort of turns out what the ultimate consequences are. But it seems like they're allowed to go forward for now, and that's good for Uber.